want to get through all this information, you have to put together a systematic plan. All right, so this person left this comment. Nina Jackson. Nina says, isn't it all possible that I'm just not smart enough to retain so much information? She says, I'm currently studying for the CompTIA A+ certification. I have no experience in IT, and I want to throw myself into something where I can learn something that I was already somewhat interested in and set myself up to make more money. She says, I printed out all the notes I could find in the exam objectives, and I started watching some courses on YouTube. She says, I'm starting to doubt myself. Is studying enough if you don't have the mental capacity? All right, so here's the thing, Nina. I firmly believe everybody is smart enough to learn IT. I truly believe that. And it's not because I want y'all to sub to my channel. And it's not because I want y'all to buy my courses. Although I will take it if you do that, right? But I firmly believe everybody is capable of learning IT. Here's the problem. Are you capable and disciplined enough to actually put yourself through a training, educational program of sorts, whether it's self-study, whether you're dealing with some coaching and mentoring, to where you can block off 30, 60, 90, however many days it takes for you to sit down and study and learn this stuff? Can you do that? Because that's the issue that I tend to see when it comes to people trying to learn IT. None of this stuff is rocket science. We're not learning quantum physics. We're not learning George Jetson, Star Trek, next generation technology. We're just learning, how does this doggone phone work? How does this computer work? Now, the problem is when you go look at the CompTIA course objectives, and it's a 2-part test, hardware, software. Each course objective is roughly 19 pages long. It's about 19 pages long for the A+ hardware, another 19 pages for the A+ software. Then in each of those objectives, there's like all types of information on there, right? You can go get all the flashcards, all the study notes. You can go out there on Amazon and buy you a 500 to 1,000 page book on how to learn this stuff. But if you don't come up with some type of study plan that says, hey, every day I'm finna study 30 minutes, 45 minutes to an hour a day. I got my notebooks, I got my pens, I got my highlighters, and we getting busy. Don't nobody come up in this room bothering me. I'm in here studying. If you can't do that and be disciplined about it, you're never going to get certified, or it's going to take you a hell of a long time to get certified than it should. That's just the truth. This has nothing to do with whether or not you have the mental capacity. It has to deal with, do you have the discipline to sit here and actually try to learn this information, whether you're learning it on your own or you're learning it from somebody like me. Now, obviously, I'm going to highly encourage you to seek out the professional advice with somebody like me who's been working in tech for over 20 years. Whether you use me or you go through somebody else, that's totally up to you. But to me, that's the easiest. I'm not going to say easiest. That's probably the most efficient way to go through this. But even if you choose to study on your own, do you have the discipline to lock yourself into a schedule to where you're going to go out there and do it? You know, it's kind of like going to the gym. I just started working back out again. I don't know if y'all noticed, but the muscles are coming through. I just started working back out again, right? I'm probably like 2 weeks into this thing. I'm sore as all outdoors right now, right? The reason why I want to work out and get back into shape is because I'm going on a cruise next year, or at least I'm supposed to be. I'm trying to go on a cruise. I'm trying to have my shirt off, and I'm trying to be glistening out in these streets, right? Abs just all over the place, right? Just looking like how I used to look when I was 20-something years old. If I don't get up in the morning and go work out and make an honest effort to try to monitor what I eat and how much I eat, I'm not going to be looking like how I used to look when I was 25 years old. You know, this dad bod is going to be stuck on me. You understand what I'm saying? That involves discipline. If I want to look like the man out in these streets, you have to be disciplined. And that same thought process applies to studying for these certifications. You want to get through all this information, you have to put together a systematic plan, meaning Monday through Friday, or whatever your schedule is that allows for you. These are my study hours. This is when I'm going to get it done. And another way, speed the process up and almost guarantee that you're going to study for this, I always tell people before you even start studying, go get your A+ voucher and go buy your voucher. You can buy your vouchers through me. I sell discounted vouchers. You go buy your A+ voucher and schedule your exam. So that way you are now forced to study for this stuff because you've already locked in a date and time that you're supposed to go take this test. And if you don't show up to take the test, you're going to fail and lose your money. Or if you do show up and you didn't put in the proper study time, you're going to fail and lose your money. So that will be step one. Go get your voucher, schedule your exam, lock it in, and then from there, go about trying to put together some type of study system. Now, we can come up with all types of theories on what's the best way to study. Maybe I could just have my headphones on and listen to the stuff and get it through osmosis. I can go get me one of them 500-page books and read that book till I fall asleep on page one. Whatever works best for you. What works best for me, I have to get notebooks, composite notebooks or whatever, spiral notebooks, same ones my kids get. I got to break out the pens. I got to break out the highlighters. And I have to go through and write this stuff down because at least as far as I'm concerned, when I write this stuff down, I've convinced myself that I'm mentally recording this stuff in my brain at least once. And then I got to go through and do my highlights, right? And then how do I do highlights? Well, this is the same way that I read books. I'm a slow reader, not in terms of comprehension, but in terms of how long it takes me to read a book. So let's just say a book has 10 chapters. I'll go through, read chapter 1. I'll do my highlights of stuff that I think is important. Before I get to chapter 2, I'll go back and reread all the highlights from chapter 1. Then start chapter 2. So now I'm starting to read chapter 2. I'm highlighting like a mug. Before I go to chapter 3, I reread the highlights from chapter 1 and chapter 2. Then I go do chapter 3. And I do this all the way through the book. So let's just say a book got like 10 chapters. By the time I'm done with that book, I probably would have read it like 10 times. So that's worked for me over the years. I used to do this when I was in college, and I was doing this when I was studying for certifications. I don't know of any other way to study. So maybe you can get that in your life, but I do know if you don't put yourself on some type of schedule to where you're going to block off 30, 45 minutes to an hour, whatever you can afford to get in, you're going to have problems. It has nothing to do with your mental capacity and all that stuff. All of y'all have the mental capacity to pass these tests. It's just a matter of, do you have the discipline to sit down and study and learn this information so you can go out there and successfully pass these tests, hopefully on a first time go. That's everybody's problem out there. And it was mine too. The very first time I took the A+ certification, the hardware test many, many, many years ago, the very first time I took it, I failed the test. And I was already working in IT because I was in the Army. And the reason why I failed is because I didn't study and I had to pay for this out of my own pocket. So I had to go back. I studied for a week and I went back and passed it the second time. Right. And then I passed the A+ software on the first time go. So in reality, it took me like $600 to get certified for the A+ cert or something like that. Don't be me. Study.